we need to talk about what's been happening behind the scenes at Manchester United this summer because it's something that Manchester United have needed to do for a while. And it's not just about offloading players, but it's what's been going on behind the scenes, how Manchester United have been doing it, and more. So, to give you context to all the news, we got the here we go yesterday that Onana is leaving. He's going to Travanzor. He's actually getting a pay rise to go there, or going to make more money to go there as well, which is pretty crazy. And he is off, and that should be pretty much completed. Rasmus Højlund obviously went to Napoli. Here we go. Wish Rasmus Højlund nothing but the best. Hope he gets his career back on track. And that could be a permanent deal if Napoli get Champions League football. But it's the strategy, it's the way that United are doing things. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes at the club this summer and talk about United's new approach, the bomb squad. And I've got to get into a lot of things. But first of all, I'm going to read out my tweet. I love the strategy this summer of let's buy Højlund and Onana replacements and then force them out. Because earlier in the window, both players were insisting on staying here, and now they have gone. In the past, we kept players here too long and used them staying as an excuse not to buy replacements. Good to see a more ruthless approach. Now, I do want to particularly talk about Højlund in more detail later on because I do feel a bit sorry for Højlund. I don't think it was necessarily all his fault that things didn't go to plan. I think, he was starved of service. We didn't create the environment for him to succeed, and I wish him all the best at Napoli. Onana, again, just wasn't good enough. Didn't see what we wanted to see in Onana when we got excited about signing him, and he asked for a 25% pay increase. But both Højlund and Onana, in March, Amorim said, I want replacements for these guys. Amorim made it clear in March internally that he wanted replacements for these guys, and we heard a little bit about it. I had a source that told me in May that they wanted replacements for Højlund and Onana, and Amorim was happy to sell them, but they weren't in the bomb squad. And a lot of people thought because Højlund and Onana weren't in the bomb squad that they were going to stay, that they were in the plans. La 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 la. Now people forget that Højlund and Onana were signed 2 years ago, which meant their book values are high, which meant it's more difficult for United to sell them and force them out. It's difficult, and the problem is Ruben Amorim told Onana back in April he can look for a new club. Ruben Amorim told Højlund at the beginning of the summer he can look for a new club. Højlund's agent was looking for a new club since March time. We were speaking about it in March time. Højlund's agent was looking around. But Højlund and Onana never wanted to leave Manchester United. They never wanted to go. Højlund had talked to a few clubs early in the window, Inter, remember. Onana had talked with Monaco, and both players would not go. Now, I think it was Andy Mitten or Adam Crafton or someone that works with The Athletic who actually said at the beginning of August or end of July there was a lot of players that they think weren't originally going to leave Manchester United that will now leave at the end of the August window when Ruben Amorim makes it clear to them they're not going to play. And that's what happened with Højlund, and that's what happened with Onana. These are two players that Ruben Amorim was told back in March time that they can look for a new club and that we wanted replacements for them. Man United, Ineos, Amorim wanted replacements for them, but we got to the end of August with these players at the club still, and what it was is Højlund wasn't going to go. Ruben Amorim and Ineos knew Højlund was not going to go unless he didn't think he was going to play, and that was the same with Onana. So rather than doing what we would have done under Woodward and Arnold and Murta and what we would have done every year for the last 10 years of we can't sign a striker because we can't sell Højlund, we can't sign a goalkeeper because we can't sell Onana, what Man United had done, and what I think is so good about the strategy, is Man United had done, well, you know what, we're going to sign a striker, we're going to freeze Højlund out the squad, freeze him out the matchday squad, and then he will leave, and then we will get some money for him. And that's what we've done. Now, do I completely agree with the way we've done this to Højlund? Not fully, because I do have sympathy of Højlund, his attitude. He was never a problem, but he just wasn't good enough for us. And sadly, when he was just not good enough for us, we have to be brutal like that. With Onana, I understand it more, him asking for the wage rise, him being more experienced than Højlund and all of that. I do think when you're a Man United goalkeeper, it's a different level of pressure. And while Onana has been bad for us, I do think people forget that if you're a goalkeeper at Leicester or Villa or Nottingham Forest and you make a mistake, people just forget about it. At Man United, they don't. And there's a different mental thing about being a goalkeeper at Man United, and it's not worked with Højlund and Onana. But again, Onana wasn't going to leave. And Onana was injured in pre-season. First game of the season, Bayindir started as expected. Bayindir had a howler versus Arsenal, but then continued to play the other Premier League games. And Onana realised quickly, okay, I actually am second choice. And then we went to sign Lamens, and Onana was like, I actually am third choice. And Onana, who'd turned down offers like Monaco earlier in the window, just like Højlund, has now agreed to leave Manchester United. Now it's loan deal, it's not permanent deals. We should get permanent money for Højlund should Napoli have a good season. But that's two players that were not going to leave, that because we've bought replacements for, they've now left the club. That is something Manchester United should have done years ago. Because in the past, we would, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, we wouldn't have signed Sesko, we wouldn't have signed Lamens, and we would have Højlund and Onana, who massively let us down last year. And we would be sitting here saying, well, we can't sign Højlund and Onana, so that's why we can't sign a striker, and that's why we can't sign a goalkeeper. Because look, I wish Højlund the best at Napoli. I wish Onana the best at Trabzonspor. But a lot of our issues that weren't midfield related pretty much came through not having a striker or having a goalie that was an idiot. There was a lot of times where we weren't even that bad under Amorim last season, where we didn't get the 3 points because the striker had just been invisible or the goalkeeper had done nothing. Now look, Sesko's coming in for Højlund. It's a very difficult role for Sesko. I think he's a bit more ready than Højlund. I think he's a bit further ahead than Højlund's development. But I do think as well, it might not be easy for Sesko. It's not the easiest role at striker, and I do have sympathy with Højlund for that. I also have sympathy with Onana for the fact that it's a mental space to be a goalkeeper at United. But those two players ultimately weren't good enough. Look, we don't know if Lamens is going to be the answer to Onana. We don't know if Sesko is going to be the answer to Højlund. We could be sitting here in a year's time and Sesko's not been better than Højlund and Lamens has not been better than Onana. But I think that Sesko will be better than Højlund, and I think that Lamens will be better than Onana, and I think it's good to have that positive mindset. Of course, we don't know how Lamens is going to do, we don't know how Sesko is going to do, but the mindset is these guys are replacements for these players that massively underperformed last season, and if you underperform to that level at Manchester United, you have to go, even if it's brutal, and I like that approach. Interestingly, Andre Onana will earn a higher salary at Trabzonspor with a move set to be announced this week. The same salary and structure as he had at United, covered by Trabzonspor, plus bonuses and signing fee. I think it's funny that Onana's getting a higher wage, considering how bad he's been. But that's what he wanted, a higher wage. And look, Onana's a red flag. Onana asking for a wage increase after the season he had, it was a massive red flag. And Onana wasn't going to leave Manchester United unless a top club had come in and offered him the same money / more money than what he would get here. Which meant Onana was not going to leave until he was forced out and had to accept Turkey or Saudi. He didn't get that interest in Saudi, so he's gone to Turkey. Now, when we signed Onana, I was excited. There was good moments from Onana. I think there was a period at the second half of his first season and just before Ten Hag was sat where he was really good. Then Amorim came in the door and he was crap. But as a goalkeeper, he's cost us too many times. Goalkeepers will cost you from time to time, but it happened too many times under Onana. With Højlund, look, he never disrespected the club. He never complained about game time. He had a lot of passion for United. He never disrespected the managers. He worked really hard. And I agree with this tweet that I wish Højlund nothing but the best at Napoli. Højlund was not good enough, and Højlund has to go because he was not good enough. He was not good enough. He got 4 goals in the league last season. He had a really promising first season, and that's why I gave Højlund a lot of time in his second season, but his second season was not good enough. And he was starved of service, of course. And Amorim's system didn't help, and he wasn't getting the service, of course. But he was just bad. And I wish him the best. I wish Højlund the best, because while Højlund was bad at United, I still believe there's a good player there, and I still believe we did not create the environment for Højlund to do well in. And hopefully in Italy, an easier league, with less pressure on him, with other strikers to learn from a better environment, he will do well. So yeah, what does Onana leaving mean for maybe Lamens? Sen Lamens didn't ask for the guarantee of being the starting goalkeeper when signing. He was ready to compete, but now with Onana leaving, it's good news for him. Chris Wheeler even did a report today suggesting that Lamens will be the first choice keeper. Throwing him into the Manchester City game is a big game to throw him into, but I really hope that we see some good performances from Lamens and good performances from Sesko, because having a good striker and a good goalkeeper can make a huge difference. And next summer, we've got to go and fix the midfield. And I'm actually going to have a live stream tonight, or a video tonight, talking about the midfield, Elliot Anderson, Baleba, some things from The Athletic that's come out on that. But yeah, Man United are also going to save around 4 million in salary payments with Onana going to Trabzonspor as well. So we've saved about 8 million from the Højlund and Onana loans, and obviously we got a 6 million loan fee for Højlund. So that's also 14 million that has been raised just from Højlund and Onana going out on loan, and another 38 million should Napoli get Champions League football. But it's not just that. We need to talk about the bomb squad. They've all gone but Malacia. Now, Malacia is in the bomb squad for a very different reason to these other players. Garnacho's in the bomb squad because him and Amorim's relationship is toxic. Rashford's in the bomb squad because something went down between him and Amorim, and there was something to do with his wages and Ineos not liking Rashford. Sancho's in the bomb squad because he's just awful. I mean, the whole Ten Hag situation, everything about it. And Anthony's in the bomb squad because his heart is not at United. He sort of cried and wanted to go to Betis and was begging Betis and, doesn't want to, mentally wasn't doing great at United. His heart's not in it. He wasn't really causing problems for the manager, but his heart was not in it. Malacia's in the bomb squad purely ability-wise, purely because he struggled. And we haven't got rid of Malacia. But this summer, Rashford, Garnacho, Sancho and Anthony have all left. Now, putting them in the bomb squad, putting them up for sale is frustrating in the sense of Chelsea getting a lot more money for their bomb squad. I think we could have got 50 million for Garnacho. I think we could have got 30 to 35 million permanent deal for Rashford. Garnacho's wages are low, so I get why Rashford and Sancho has gone out on loan, but Garnacho's wages are low. I think we should have got 50 million for Garnacho, and I will stick with that. Even in the bomb squad, I think we should have got 50 million. Jadon Sancho was never going to go anywhere. I think that was out of Ineos' hands. He was never going to go anywhere because he rejected numerous clubs. Marcus Rashford, the problem we had is he was rejecting everyone for Barcelona. And again, that was frustrating. But with Rashford's wages, we're saving 15 million. So, and then he might go permanent for 26 million. And Anthony was rejecting everyone but Betis. Anthony said he rejected Bayern Munich for Real Betis. And that was the problem we had with Anthony. But Anthony waited till the end and demanded a 5 million payout from Man United. And Man United said, we're not paying you 5 million to leave because Betis are only giving us about 20 million for you, which is a joke. We won a 30 million. And Anthony left without. The fact that the bomb squad is gone, even if not all permanently, it's good that a lot of people are out because it gives us a lot more scope to bring people in. And there is a bit of money to spend in January.